here's a question for you. Is there a movie out there or movies that you wish you had written a score for?
Oh yeah. Oh, tons, tons. Um, I mean, I love the music that was done for them, but uh, Schindler's List comes to mind. Uh, what was that great basket? Hoosiers uh, with Gene Hackman. I loved that score. That was Jerry Goldsmith. Um, the Notebook.
Oh, great film.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big movie fan, so when I'm watching a movie, I'm listening to the movie as much as I want.
That's awesome because you just led me into my next question that just popped into my brain. So obviously the way you watch a movie is going to be completely different than the way I watch a movie because you're a composer, you're a score writer and all of that. Do you watch a film, and obviously I'm not going to ask you for a specific example of this, but do you watch a film and just hear something that's so wrong in your mind creatively that you just gasp like, "Oh my God, what are they doing there?" And does that ruin a movie for you?
I've yeah, I mean, generally the movies that I go to see are really good movies.
Yeah.
But I have gone to a few that where I've gone, not only about the music, but about the writing, the screenwriting, and the directing. And
Yeah.
you go, what? How did this get made? You
Yeah.
know?
And you immediately just run to the credits to see who did that. Like, oh my God, who did that? I can't imagine, dude. Like, just watching something from your perspective would be so different than mine because I think a lot of us consumers of film and TV, we take the music for granted, right? It's just it's there, and you don't realize it's not there until it's not there, right? Because there are those movies too where you're like, man, there probably should have been music there, and there wasn't. Um, but yeah, just interesting stuff. Were there throughout your career, were there some successes that you had, whether it was songs or movies or relationships or whatever, that were truly unexpected to you?
Hmm. I was thrown into certain situations. I'd get a call to do an arrangement or write something for someone, or someone was cutting my song where I didn't know the person, and then we became friends along the way. But I can't really think of a one example. I think it's just an extension of networking
Yeah.
over the years, and some have become good friends, and some you never see again, you know.
Creatively speaking, from the side of content, like, were there songs that you were like, man, I don't think this is going to be any good, and then they just blew up?
I've had a couple of those
Yeah.
that I was quite surprised. Coca-Cola Cowboy comes to mind, that Mel Tillis
Right.
had a gigantic hit with. Uh, we wrote that as a joke.
Really?
We didn't even think it was going to be a song. It was like it was a joke. And and Sandy Pinkard, who I wrote it with, had this kind of silly chorus, and I he played it for me, and I just started playing on the piano, wrote the verse, we finished it, and he played it for Snuff Garrett, who said, "I'm putting this in every which way but loose. We'll cut it with Mel Tillis." And I thought, really, and and it became this monster hit. So you just never know. And then I wrote a song. For Ray Charles and Clint Eastwood, for
Farland
Any
Brothers.
Which Way You Can, called "Beers to
Yeah,
You," which I
beers to
thought
you,
was
yeah.
the worst song. It is the worst song I've ever written. I was forced to write it. I thought the title was horrendous, and I thought the song was bad, and I was embarrassed to put my name on it, but Snuff made us cut it, and it was just a bomb, and and so whenever anybody brings that up or says, "Hey, can you play a little Beers to You?" I go, "No." So
That's the one time you wish Snuff took credit for the whole thing, right? Oh man.